They buried her twice, once with shame, and once in a coffin with no body. But the girl they thought was dead came back, richer, louder, and more dangerous than anyone saw coming. This is the story of Anike, the woman two coffins couldn't hold. The first time Michael saw her, she was standing barefoot in muddy slippers, arguing with a palm oil seller over 200 naira. The seller was shouting at the top of her voice like someone stole her money. But Anike, she stood her ground, calm, sharp, unbothered. Michael sat in his black Porsche. Window was slightly open for him to hear the conversation. He laughed from inside his tinted car. Who argues like that? With that much peace? He thought. The driver asked if they should move. No, I want to see who wins. Anike did. As the seller hissed and stormed off, Anike picked up a half-gallon, turned, and caught Michael staring. He stepped out of the car, walked up to her. Excuse me, he said, adjusting his watch. I think that was the best argument I have seen this year. Anike rolled her eyes. And so, you want to clap for me, or what? Michael grinned. No, but I think you deserve an award. Maybe breakfast with me. I swear, I'm not a Yahoo boy. See, bros, I don't give my number to men just because they have fine shoes. But I also have clean intentions. She chuckled. Wow, I'm sure that line must have worked on every girl. Try again. Michael laughed again, but this time he leaned in, voice playful. Okay, what if I say I came here just to buy pepper, but now I want your number more than the stew? She hissed, but the smile gave her away. So it is pepper that brought you here before, but now it is love? Exactly, spicy love. She raised an eyebrow, still amused. Alright, at least let me know your name, then. She smirked. Anike. Michael. That was the day the boy with a full pocket met the girl with an empty purse. And days turned into months. Michael came back every Saturday. Sometimes with plantain, sometimes with yams. Always with respect. He never rushed and never flaunted his money. He watched her teach older women how to save money with her little chalkboard and a borrowed phone. She was not loud. She was not flashy. But her words stayed. Michael was hooked, not by beauty, but by her fire. But not everyone liked that fire. When he invited her for his mother's 58th birthday dinner, Anike wore her only guinea. She borrowed a gown and polished her shoes till her fingers ached. Then she met her, Delilah, the mother of Michael. Mom, this is Anike, my girlfriend. The woman didn't smile, didn't greet. She scanned her from her slippers to her earring. So this is the girl distracting my son during meetings. Michael laughed awkwardly. Anike greeted politely, but Delilah's eyes never blinked. Later that night, she whispered to her husband, Chief Ajibola, "End it now, or this girl will bury our family name in poverty." He brushed it off. But as Anike stepped out to catch her ride, Delilah met her at the gate, alone, holding a glass of wine like it was a weapon. Look at you. Not bad. Even a dog can look clean after a bath. Anike's smile stiffened. I beg your pardon? Delilah took a step closer. Let me say it clearly so there is no confusion. You're not good enough. Not for my son, not for this family, not even for this truth. Anike swallowed her, but stood her ground. Michael is a grown man. If he has a problem with me, he'll say it himself. Delilah's smile vanished. You still don't get it. This is not love. It's hunger, and I won't let a gold digger enter my house. If I see you close to him again, you will be wiped out like a dog, and I will make your life a living hell. She tossed the wine into the grass and walked away. That night, Delilah made 2 phone calls. One to her lawyer and one to someone mysterious. 2 weeks later, Anike arrived at the mango tree where she usually taught the market women. But 2 men in plain clothes approached her with printed documents and cold stares. "Are you Anike Ojetunde?" She nodded, confused. "You're under arrest for coordinating a 1.5 million naira online scam." Anike blinked. "What? I don't know what you are talking about." They shoved the papers in her face. A Zenith Bank account in her name. She had never opened the account, never even visited that branch. "This is not mine," she said, breath trembling. "I swear, this is not mine." Michael arrived too late. She looked at him. "Tell them the truth, Michael. Tell them I didn't do this." He looked at her, eyes full of fear. He wanted to say something, but nothing came out. She was cuffed and dragged away. Earlier that day, his mother showed him screenshots of fake chats between Anike and someone named My Client. There were bank alerts, timestamps, account numbers. Her name, Anike Ojetunde, was on a Zenith Bank statement. The account had 1.5 million naira. He stared at it in disbelief. This can't be real. Delilah, calm like the devil, sipped her tea and said, "She's been playing you. I warned you, Michael." He didn't want to believe it, but the evidence kept coming. She even had a recorded voice note, Anike's voice, laughing and saying, "The money has dropped." It wasn't real. It wasn't her, but it sounded like her. And just like that, the poor girl with a dream became the girl in cell number 43. Months later, in court, Delilah sat in full white again. She brought her own judge, whom she paid off. The courtroom smelled like politics. Anike didn't speak. No one would believe her anyway, and she was sentenced to 3 years in solitary confinement, with no possibility of parole. No visitors, no calls, just rats, heat, and silence. After the arrest, Michael begged to recheck the bank account, the evidence. Delilah refused. He fought with her, shouted, broke a mirror in frustration, but Delilah stood firm. She stopped going to work, stopped eating, then started drinking. Day after day, bottle after bottle. Even Chief Ajibula started to worry. One night, Delilah came to him gently, for the first time in weeks. "You need peace, my son. This girl, she has destroyed your joy. Let me give you someone who will build it again." A few months later, Michael was forced in a wedding with a woman he didn't love, and Anike was still behind bars. Anike thought of her mother every night. "If I ever leave this place, I'll never beg for a seat again. I'll own the whole town." That was her prayer, but Delilah wasn't finished. The prison cell was barely wide enough for her to lie flat. Anike had not seen sunlight in 3 months. There was no visitor, no lawyer, no Michael, just a bucket for bathing and a daily meal that looked like leftover cement. Every night, she spoke to the wall, not because she was mad, but because it was the only thing that didn't accuse her. "Mommy, I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing." Meanwhile, Delilah was cleaning the mess. She wiped the fake accounts clean, moved the stolen money into crypto wallets and ghost companies. The trail led back to Anike and ended there. But that wasn't enough. Delilah sent 3 men to her village. Anike's mother was in the backyard peeling cassava when they arrived. "Who are you looking for?" she asked. Anike's mother. "That's me. Your daughter sent you a letter. She said you should come with us." She smiled, relieved, hopeful. As they entered, they tied her down and poured kerosene on the kitchen floor, blocked the back door with a rusted iron bar, and lit a match. The house went up in flames. Mommy screamed as her skin was spinning under the hot fire until her lungs gave up. But by the time neighbors saw the smoke, it was too late. They said it was a cooking fire. Happens all the time. And the men disappeared and were never seen again. But one neighbor swore she saw a man locking the door from outside. Have you ever been so angry that you feel it in your bones? That was how Anike felt that night. She looked down at her tray of rice and saw ants. Again, dead black ants, floating like they were part of the food. She did not move, didn't shout. She just sat back slowly, leaned her head on the cold wall, pulled her knees close, and whispered to herself, I didn't do anything. I am not a scammer. Somewhere far down the hall, a door slammed. A guard shouted. Feet started running. Then, boom! A loud bang shook the block. There was smoke. Block D was on fire. Nobody knew how it started. But for Anike, it felt like the world was cracking open. She jumped up, rushed to the bars, and screamed, Help! Somebody help me! Please! But no one answered. She started coughing. Smoke was rolling in fast. She went back to her corner, coughing. And then she saw him. A shadow, moving through the smoke like he belonged. Hoodie over his head. Calm. Focused. He didn't panic. He didn't run. He walked to the rusty control box at the side gate. Click, click, click. One by one, the cell door started unlocking. Then her door was open. She didn't think twice. She ran. The smoke was all over her face. Her eyes were burning. She pulled her shirt over her nose and kept going. She ran past the same walls she used to clean, past guards coughing and crawling on the floor, past the kitchen where they once mocked her for begging for water. She turned the corner and the guard grabbed her wrist. Hey, stop right there. She pulled hard, twisted her arm, slammed her elbow into his ribs. He cursed and let go. She didn't stop. She kept running like her life depended on it, because it did. Her feet were bare, her legs weak. She hit the wall once, scraped her knee, almost fell, but she kept going. And then, finally, the cold air hit her skin. She made it outside. She didn't even know where she was running to. She just ran until she found a broken down bus stop on the side of a bush path. She dropped to her knees. Her chest was on fire. Her throat was dry. Her whole body was shaking. Then, her body gave her out and she collapsed. He grabbed her arm and lifted her over his shoulder. She gasped. I can't breathe. Don't die now, he said. Not when you have come this far. Then, she heard it. Anike, she looked up, barely seeing through her tears and sweat. The hood came down. It was him, Dimeji. You don't remember me? It's me, Dimeji. The guy who used to fix phones for your mama and her friends. She blinked fast. How did you? He handed her water, a phone, a small brown envelope. Then he knelt beside her. You remember the day my stepfather beat me half to death outside our compound? Everyone passed. Nobody looked twice. But you stopped. You didn't even have much, but you called the vigilantes. You gave me food. You even lied to your mama for me. That day, I wanted to die. You gave me a reason to live. Tears rolled down her face. So when I heard what happened to you, I couldn't sit and fold my arms. I used the fake name, fake ID, and applied for a security job. It took 3 months, but I got it. I waited for the right night and made the fire happen. Just enough confusion for you to run. Anike turned her head and looked back. The prison was far away now, but smoke still painted the sky behind her. They will come after me, she said quietly. Dimeji shook his head. Let them. They will look for a girl who died in the fire. They won't find you. She looked at the new ID in her hand. New name, new life, but the same fire in her chest. They buried me once, she said, her voice low but full. Now I'm coming back, not just to survive, but to win. When the fire broke out in Block D, one inmate never made it out. Burned beyond recognition, her body was near where Anike's cell used to be. The prison officers, desperate to close the case, looked at the cell list and stamped the fact. Anike Ujitunde, deceased. No autopsy, no DNA test, just one burnt body and a rushed burial. A few guards pocketed hush money. A fake death certificate was signed. The report said it was a tragic accident. Delilah even attended the funeral, wore black lace, dropped fake tears, gave the press a sad quote about losing a girl to poor prison conditions. The country moved on. They thought she was gone, but they forgot. Fire doesn't always kill. Sometimes it transforms. 3 years later, the city was louder now, faster and colder. But so was Anike. She didn't wear rubber slippers anymore. She wore heels. Her rough hair was now clean. And the girl who argued over 200 naira now held meetings with people who talked in dollars. She had changed, but not by accident. She built herself from scratch. The major helped her get out of the country through a private route. For 2 years, she lived quietly in Ghana. She used a fake name, took online courses, learned everything about fintech, digital security, and savings system. And then she launched it, Kolo Shafe, a mobile savings app built for the people the banks ignored. Market women, bus drivers, factory workers, people like her mother. Her mother, gone, burned alive in the house Delilah set on fire. She didn't get to say goodbye. That wound didn't close. It just got buried under work and ambition. Within 6 months, Kolo Shafe was everywhere. She didn't take loans from banks. She raised money from people. Word of mouth. She grew it, community by community, offering double the security and half the charges. And when the media finally caught on, they called her the people's banker. She had investors now, lawyers, a media team, a team that made sure no one could trace her past. But there was one thing she could not hide from: Michael. She had not seen him since that day they dragged her away. He didn't try to visit, didn't write, nothing. But deep down, she always wondered, did he believe she was guilty, or was he just a coward? One evening, while preparing for an interview with a top African business channel, her assistant rushed in. "Ma, you won't believe who just walked into the lobby." "Who?" "Michael Ajibola." Her chest froze for a second. "Tell him to wait." She took 5 minutes, fixed her makeup and straightened her dress, then walked into the lobby like she owned it, because she did. Michael stood up. He looked older, more tired, but the shock on his face when he saw her, that was priceless. "Anike?" She nodded. "You're alive?" "Clearly." "They said the fire." "Yeah, I heard that story too." "I didn't know what to believe," he said. "But you believed your mother." He looked down, guilty. "She said you stole, that you were using me. Everything happened so fast." "I was dragged away like a dog, Michael, and you did nothing." "I wanted to, but no need." There was silence again. Then she said, "There was a time I would have begged for this moment, to see you again, to ask you why. But now, I just wanted to see if you still had a face." Michael swallowed her. "Anike, I never stopped loving you." She looked at him for a long moment. Then, quietly, "That's enough. I don't even know why I fell in love with you. You are just a coward." She turned to leave. "But maybe," she added, "if you want to see what a real woman looks like, come to the Kolo Shafe summit tomorrow. I'm the speaker." She walked away like it didn't matter. But her heart, it wasn't done talking, because deep down, she still loved him too. And the war with Delilah, it was just getting started. They thought she was finished, locked her up, buried her name, and burned everything she loved. But what they didn't know was, some people don't die easy. Anike didn't just survive. She came back, wiser, with nothing to lose. This time, She's not begging for a seat at the table. She's building her own. And when she's done, the same people who try to destroy her will be the ones knocking on her door. They buried me twice. First with shame, then with a coffin that never held my body. One coffin held my name, the other held my dreams. But I didn't die. I watched, I learned, and I waited. Now I have come back. Not just to explain, but to burn every name that tried to bury mine. Let them enjoy their peace for now. The next part is war. Watch out for part 2, the resurrection of Anike. They buried her twice, but did she deserve it? When is shame worse than death? Comment your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Binge on more mind-blowing stories below. Each twist will leave you questioning everything. Don't miss next week's heartwarming tale. Subscribe plus hit the notification bell. You won't miss it when it comes.